Hey everybody, Jesse with Hunt Training here today to talk about one-handed shooting and some tips and tricks to make you guys successful when you need to use it. Let's get going. Like I said in the intro, guys, I want to talk a little bit about one-handed shooting. Earlier, yesterday, I cut the crap out of myself, and this hand is not like completely limited, but it's severely limited on its ability to grip the gun and do other things. So it kind of got me thinking, why don't I just go ahead and do some one-handed shooting, get you guys some tips to be more successful at getting rounds on target when you need to. Now, first and foremost, pretty much everything's going to apply in one-handed shooting as it does in two-handed shooting. You're just going to have a little less support. So still, sight alignment and trigger control are going to be number one on getting your shots on target. Now, manipulations do change a little bit when we go to one-handed shooting, and there's a couple options that happen to be available when you go to one-handed shooting that are able to help you be more successful. Before we get any farther in the video, guys, take the chance to try to support the channel. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, and share these videos down below. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, because a lot of you guys aren't subscribed watching my videos, and I would appreciate it if you did, because it really helps me out. If you want to support the channel monetarily, you can go to my website and buy some things off of there. Products that I use on the range and do things like that I have linked to. It kicks back a little money. Or Patreon if you want to do that. You guys are awesome. And get out to the range. Now, let's get into a few things. Number one, I think it's really important to have really, really good gear. Now, and people will say, well, good gear isn't important when people waste too much money on gear. Yeah, they do, but it's also important that, especially EDC-wise, because I'm talking more in EDC sense because I'm not a police officer or anything like that. It's important to have a solid belt and a solid holster and a good gun. That way you don't have issues. So basically, I'm running a Core Essentials Trackline belt. Very nice belt. If you guys can see that or not see that, I will show you if you can't see it. We've got a Tier 1 concealed Aegis holster, and then we also have the CZ P09 gun that you guys see here. Pretty awesome pistol. So I'm starting off with some good things. One caveat though, this is a DASA gun, so if you guys don't know what that means, double action, single action. At first the hammer's down, so what you got to do is you got to cock the hammer before you let it go forward. That's two actions, cocking the hammer and then dropping the hammer. And then goes to single action, which is one action, so just dropping the hammer. That's what double action, single action stands for. So my first trigger pull is going to be long and heavy. So that's a consideration, but the fundamentals are still what's going to cause me to hit the target. If I focus on my sides and have a good trigger pull, I'm still going to hit the target. So you guys saw me right there raise my thumb up. So let's talk about the grip a little bit. So I raise my thumb up because you see this open space? You guys can all see this open space in this grip right here. When I raise my thumb up, I'm just trying to take that grip. I'm just trying to take up that space. So raising my thumb like that, here we'll aim at this target. Raising my thumb like that allows me to have better control over the gun. So I'm squeezing it good. I'm getting a hold of the gun. I'm squeezing it good, and then I'm going to raise that thumb, and it allows me to get the gun on target a lot faster if I could actually focus and hit. Well, I guess now is the perfect time. Let's talk about reloads. Okay, before I talk about reloads, let's take some time to talk about the draw. Now, on the range when you practice this, there's a couple things you can do with this hand. You can either secure it to your chest or stick it in your pocket. I'm probably just going to have it down here in my pocket loop and grab it because I find it harder and it screws up the draw, and you probably or may not have it there. We all know it's important to press one-handed things because you could be holding somebody off, protecting yourself and doing retention shooting, or, you know, this hand could be injured like it is today. So I'm just going to use the buzzer. I'm going to go off the buzzer and I'm going to draw. But what I look for when I draw is I'm going to clear and I'm going to press with my arm so that I can get the gun out and clear, present the gun, and pull a shot. So I'll show you that one more time. Same thing goes with, any other time. So I'm going to clear the garment. I'm going to secure the garment with my elbow here. I'm going to present, and I'm going to hit my target. And as you see here, guys, it's not easy. One-handed shooting doesn't just happen overnight. It's important to practice. Obviously, I haven't. So a little bit faster now. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I need to spend more time at the range. One more time, a little bit faster. That was better. Make sure I'm focusing on that front sight on the target. Don't be in a rush to put the gun away, especially when we're carrying appendix. So let's see that off the buzzer a couple times. Do a couple transition shots off the buzzer. Got a little hung up there. Little hung up, 419. Now that's not good enough. That's not good enough, guys. Stuff happens so fast in self-defense situations. I want to be able to, even with one hand, be sub 3 second, probably sub 2 second, getting the gun out and getting a shot on target. So let's try to be better, because that was pretty bad. Let's go. Okay, that was closer. That was 220. So that's closer to where we want to be. And if you're one-handed shooting at that point and you've already been injured, you probably have time to get the gun out. If you're protecting yourself or doing something like this, you probably have time to get the gun out because you've given yourself time, you've given yourself space. One-handed shooting is a last resort, but it's something that's important to practice. Now, let's talk about reloads a little bit, because they are a little different when you go to a one-handed setup, and there's really two ways to do it. We'll show you both of those real quick. Okay, let's talk about reloads. Now, obviously, depending on your grip and stuff like that, your gun may or may not lock open. It may just go click. So let's say we're going to have a lock open. So I'm going to set my gun up for a lock open reload. And I'm not going to do anything off the draw. I don't need to practice the draw here. So the first way that I like to do it is, personally, especially in winter when we have more clothes on, right? What I'll do is I'll present the pistol and I'll break the shot. Okay, my gun's gone dry and I see that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the magazine and I'm going to put it in between my knees. Now here, I don't think you guys can see that. Let's back up a little bit. I'm going to drop the mag and put it in between my knees. Then I'm going to reach for my garment, access my magazine, insert it, and me personally, I'm going to use a slide stop. But here's the awesome thing. Because these sights have a shelf here, I can go off of my belt if I want to and get it racked. But because of this sweatshirt, it's hard for me to access that. So it's another thing to consider. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to roll the gun in my hand, and then I'm going to present. And I'm going to put shots on target. Now let's talk about the other way. The other way is putting the gun in the holster and doing that. Now, I really don't like this way. I feel like it's too much going back to the holster and doing so. So I'll show you that. So I guess I'm going to do it from the draw. So I'm going to draw the gun. Gun goes empty. Oh, empty mag. Oh, geez. Empty mag. Clear the garment. Insert the holster. New mag, draw, drop, fire. Now, I just don't like that. There's just too much going on. I could do it outside of the gun, it outside of the outside of the holster way faster. So I don't really know if I recommend that way that much. It's just a lot going back into the holster and getting garments out of the way. So I'll show you the way I prefer and get you guys to a different angle so you can see it a little better. Okay, we're going to talk about just my preferred method for reloading the gun. So here we go. Just go ahead and watch. Okay, So as you saw there, basically the same way I talked about, but instead of using the magazine release, I just squeeze my legs together and use that to rack the slide. It works. So that's reloading the gun. Finally, malfunctions. Now, malfunctions are kind of interesting. Like, once you learn the malfunctions, I'm just going to show you a few things that you can use when doing this to help you create malfunctions. If you get a click bang, if you get a click and no bang, obviously you can't just tap with your hand and rack. So I like to use my leg, tap, and right here rack, but it's going to be really hard to rack the gun. You may have to tap and rack with your legs, in between your legs. I've seen that done before. You need to practice and figure out what's going to work for you. It's really hard for me because of the way the CZ slides right inside of the handgun. If you have a magazine for like a double feed or something that won't come out, like you'd usually have to strip it, the best way to get it out is to hit the magazine release and hit your leg like this. And that jarring, you may have to do it a few times, will usually get the magazine out. And then anything, you can rub it off your belt if you have a good enough shelf. You can rub it right here out the front if you have a good enough shelf. You can go between the legs and squeeze it and pull it to the rear. But if you're getting malfunctions one-handed, it's usually not the best thing. But you can accomplish anything you want to if you have the will to do so. So you just got to practice and you got to try these things. It is what it is. Let's do one more reload because I sucked the last time. Just from my hand. Now see, that time wasn't very consistent. I wasn't able to get the gun back up like I needed to. So it does take a lot of practice, guys. It's important to get to the range and do these kinds of things. I'm Jesse with Hunt Training. Thanks for watching. I have other channels if you guys want to check them out. Take these tricks, take these tips that I gave you, go to the range and practice them. One-handed shooting is difficult. It takes a lot of work to get anywhere remotely good, and I'm obviously not even close to remotely good. And I need a lot more practice, and I'm sure you guys do too, because you're never completely there. Let's see if I can end the day off with a bill drill to a target at somewhat of a decent speed. One-handed, let's go. Missed a couple shots. Need to be more practice, guys. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.